brand new purple light. Brand new purple light. Friends, brand new purple light. Friends, facts, brand new purple light. Friends, red and blue, purple light. Friends, facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light. To the family. Peace, love and light. To the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace, peace, peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Live. Yes, and you are rocking with the best. This is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. All right. And I am joined with the family. Greetings, greetings, greetings. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Peace, love, and light. How's everybody doing? All right. We are here. We are here. We are here. Real quick, let's do a roll call. Let's get in the roll call. Let's see who is in the building before we get into the business tonight. Yeah. We got Columbus, Ohio in the building. Shout out to Columbus, Ohio. Shout out to the Ohio family. You dig? The Ohio players out there. All right. We got the Virgin Islands in the building. We got Harlem in the building. Nashville, Tennessee is here. We got Dallas, Texas up in this thing. You dig? Harlem, Connecticut, Delaware, Sacramento, San Jose, Greenville, Plano, Texas, Seattle, Bmore, all right, San Bernardino, Texachusetts, I like that. Beantown, BX, Australia, Ireland, Duval. We got Arlington, Texas in the building. The Bronx is up in this thing. The land of flowers is up in this thing. Philly in the building. BX, Greensboro. How Helen held out there. St. Louis, all right. Cleveland in the building. Shout out to Cleveland. Yes, indeed. So the family is here. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make yourselves comfortable. You know what I'm talking about? Pull up. Make yourselves at home on this good Saturday. You know, I couldn't I ain't gonna lie to you. I was literally, I took an old man nap, and I had to force myself to get back up and be like, nah, you said you was gonna give them a show on Saturday. You got to feed the family. You know what I'm talking about? So we here. We're here. Um, Man, I've been putting together this lecture that I'm going to be doing on Monday called Red October. You feel me? I've been putting the pieces together for this Red October lecture that we're going to be doing. It to me is Win in Rome, but I don't want to call it Win in Rome, but it's part of the Win in Rome series, and it's called Red October. And you feel me? It's a lot of stuff going on right now, so I just put a lot of things together, and we're gonna be presenting it on Zoom because it's too hot for YouTube. YouTube doesn't allow you to play content anymore. So clips that I like to play, things of that nature. I don't want my channel. I don't want to get this channel flagged. So I'm gonna have to do it on the Zoom, and that's on Monday. You dig? And that's for my Patreons. That's Patreon exclusive for the Patreon family. And I will drop a link in the chat for anybody that wants to sign up to the Patreon, so you could be a part of that on Monday. You dig? So yeah, let me see. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. All right, you can see the screen. All right. Yeah, so as we move along down the roads of the Jason months, you know, what we've been doing on this channel and what we've been doing with the lectures, the series of lectures that we've been rolling out since the beginning of this year, and even the year before in 2023, right? We've done When in Rome, Fear of a Black and More Messiah, and a few other ones, right? And we gave you the Jason months. So for the Jason months, for the month of September, the S in Jason, it's been a lot of things taking place. The Jason months have been Jasoning, and there's so many things converging that October stands to be a red October. Okay. All signs, all signals, and all flags are showing that there will be an October surprise and that October will be a red October. Okay. And we will be breaking down all of the things that point to that direction. From today, this is the pre show tonight, and we'll lead up to Monday where we'll be giving you a lot more information based off of this Red October. Yeah. So the story that took over September and more than likely will take over the rest of the Jason months is arguably the biggest story that has it's not people, people will call this a distraction. I've heard that word being used and whatnot, and I'm here to say that nah, I can't necessarily go for that. I won't be one of those people who agree and co-sign any type of conversations about it being a distraction. Because to me, it's more than that. This case has validity. It has a lot of implications attached to it. It has the capability. Hold on. Can y'all see the screen with Let me see something. With Diddy dressed up as Batman. Let me see. Okay. I was okay. All right. I didn't know that. Okay. So Gotham City's very own, right? Gotham City's very own Joker and Batman. Okay. He played both roles, right? He played both roles. He's the spirit of New York, or rather Gotham City to a degree. And we're going to break it down, and we'll be able to explain, and we'll be able to really show you how influential this man's energy, and not only his energy, but you know, the spell that he had on the culture, because hip hop is just more than music, it's a culture. And his tentacles in the culture reach very, very deep. So the fall of Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Brother Love, it is of a lot of significance. Okay. The implications of him being involved in the assassination of Tupac Amaru Shakur, and even word of his hands and his own artist demise, Notorious Big, amongst other artists that were a part of his roster, right? And then, of course, all of the higher ups that are attached to the quote unquote the crimes that were being committed. Now, the crimes that were being committed that I am speaking about, so we don't have to deal in the realms of rumors or he say, she say, or anything of the in that realms where people are being accused of things against their name and they're smearing. I don't want to be a part of that entourage. I don't want to be a part of that, that party and whatnot. I just want to stand on facts. Okay. So the facts are that in certain paperwork of certain quote unquote lawsuits that were what is the word published against Sean Combs, the names of Lucian Grange, the names of Clive Davis, and the names of other people of significant power, right, were being mentioned in these lawsuits. And they were calling them, quote unquote, co-defendants, or they were calling them the, you know, they were naming them in the lawsuits as co-conspirators. So he's connected to a network of powerful, influential individuals who don't just who don't just they're not just necessarily participating in the proclivities of their private life. No, no, no. They're breaking laws because there's an aspect of what's being done that's illegal. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. We're not trying to get into anybody's personal life. If somebody is a freak, if somebody has proclivities that are considered to be kinks and whatnot, I'm not here to judge anybody. That's not what they have him in jail for. Okay. Let's just be clear. That's not what they're holding him, in federal custody allegedly for. That's not. There's some type of line that has been crossed, and there's evidence of it on those tapes that have allegedly been hitting the black market. And word is, people are seeing some of the tapes. Now, we do live in the age of deep fakes. We do live in the age of AI face swapping. We do live in a new age where footage can be doctored, right? More proficiently than it could a year ago. So always keep that in mind and be aware of that. However, there is a lot of talk about the tapes that the federal agents were able to retrieve and whatnot, hitting the black market. And there's evidence on some of these tapes of crimes being committed, right? So we're talking about underage. We're talking about clear grape. We're talking about assaults that will go past the realm of sadomasochism and things of that nature, right? And these people are very sick in their proclivities. And to have hundreds of thousands of hours of evidence, there's going to be a lot of heads rolling. All right. There's going to be a lot of heads rolling. So he knows a lot. There's nothing against me. There's nothing there's nothing that's in me that's gonna say that he's not gonna snitch. Now, please understand, even with this lawsuit, right? And I'm not with this lawsuit, even with this indictment, where certain people heard the indictment, is 3 charges, or is it the 3-charge indictment? And they're saying that the indictment is weak. Um, keep in mind that they can also introduce new indictments. Okay. Um, there's definitely more indictments coming down the pipeline for this man and whatnot. This was just the first of many. Okay. This is just a linchpin. This is not, I think that they will have superseding indictments on the way. They didn't name any other names in this first indictment. So there's definitely going to be a new indictment with more names, because they did say that this is a RICO, and they said they spoke of employees and other quote unquote other suspects or other persons of interest. So they will be naming that very soon. Henceforth, why I said this P. Diddy thing, even though it does register as a distraction, it is a distraction. Let me be clear. It is a distraction, and it's not a distraction. It's not a distraction if you know what you're looking at and you're able to process it, and you don't allow it to take up all of your time, all of your energy. We've been talking about Diddy going down on this platform, on this channel, for many, many years. Okay. The beginning of this year, we have a video where we're speaking about it. One of the Great Falls, one of the episodes of the Great Fall. I'm gonna play it in a minute. We were talking about Diddy. Then we have another episode called March Madness and whatnot, where we were giving you a skinny on it. We've been following this, we've been forecasting it. So now that it's here, it's more things that are unraveling. This, remember, this is Watch the Party Die. This is the Great Fall. This is quote unquote sit back and get your moringa popcorn and just watch the lessons and the teachings and the prophecies unfold. There's nothing else to be seen here. Okay. There is this industry is dying. This industry it has fallen. This industry has reached its last leg. It is on its deathbed. Coincidentally, it also happens to occur right in the midst of an eclipse season. Okay, it happens to occur right in the midst of an eclipse season or an eclipse cycle when things come to an end. Right. So if anybody pays attention, you'll see what's taking place. This whole thing is coming to an end. The fall of Diddy is the fall of an era. It's the ending of an era. It's the bookmarking of an era. It's the quote unquote ending of a cycle. There's a certain type of energy that has to be returned back to sender. And when one thing falls, another thing rises. So if you want to say it's a distraction, I would beg to differ. It's not a distraction. It's to me it's a hallmark. To me it is a catalyst. When I see it taking place, I'm like, okay, shit is lit. It's time for real music to take itself or to take over. It's time for a new star to arrive. It's time for a new movement. It's time for it's just time. Timing is everything. You know what I mean? Timing is everything. And when you know the ledge, you know your proper timing. Let me know if y'all can hear this video that I'm playing right here. Okay, hold on a minute. The video was a dub. I'm on the back office right here. Hold on a minute. This is let me do something. Give me 1 minute. I have to export this as a movie, a QuickTime movie. And if I export it as a movie, it'll be able to play better. So just give me 1 minute. It's going to take a few minutes and we'll get to it. All right. Yeah, we're gonna. You said you could hear it. It was just low. Yeah, I'm gonna make it right though because audio is. I'm big on audio. Big on audio, so I need it to sound as perfect as possible on the playback. You know, um, and as we wait for this file to be created, I do want to add a disclaimer once again about what we do over here and what we're doing over here. We don't celebrate the fall or the demise of any of our people, but we do highlight and we do quote unquote say good riddance when demons and devilish people fall. So if it's determined that that's who you are, then that would definitely determine how people treat you over here. We don't relish though. We're observers. We're gonna just give you the news based off of how it's being given. And we're also going to establish a narrative based off of what we're observing. You know what I'm saying? Because people are looking at people could look at one thing and see two totally different things, just completely based off a narrative. So we have to establish narrative. What are we seeing? I'm seeing with the falling of not just Diddy's a domino. Diddy is a domino. It's not just Diddy. Diddy is a domino. So I'm seeing the falling of empires and kingdoms where the emperors had no clothes. They were false prophets. It was a lot of idol worship. It's the cult of personality worship. It's this quote unquote this rapper, this American Idol rapper worship thing that a lot of generations had going for them. You know what I mean? It was that wasn't challenged for a very long time. This is the first time that I could collectively remember the collective being challenged about their worship or their idol worship or their blind worship or their quote unquote their stand like activity, their stand like behavior when it comes to these stars who they saw as greater than them, better than them, bigger than them. This is the first time. This is the first time where the collective is like, I don't even want to go to no party no more. I don't even want to listen to no music no more. I don't even want to turn up to that shit no more. I don't even want to participate anymore. This seems to be the first time that I'm hearing that collectively. It built up to this. It's always been taken, there's always been conversations and whatnot in different pockets. But this is the first time that it's really starting to coalesce. And you have artists that are on the forefront and they're leading that charge. And they're like, yo, deaf to this shit. It needs to fall. It needs to end. It needs to reset because it'll never end. The party will never end. Let's be clear. It's an eternal fire. Hip hop was built off of the party. It was created off the party. So you can't kill the party, but you could destroy party and bullshit. You could pause the bullshit. You could evolve it into a political party. You could grow it up into a birthday party. You know what I'm talking about? You can evolve it, but you'll never, the party will never end. The party and bullshit has to end. What does Diddy represent? Party and bullshit and party and bullshit and party. The poetic justice in the whole thing is that he's going down for his first charge of many, I feel, because you can't leave the Tupac shit off the table. That's going to haunt him. And there's some other things that's on his heels and whatnot. But party is ironic that he's going down in flames over parties that they're calling a new term that they have to enter into the law books. Freak offs, right? Freak offs. And it fits perfectly into the trope that they've always been using against black men, melanated men, and especially Moors. Freak offs. Those were those orgies that where it's always about our sexual proclivities. It's always about what we do with our phallus. It's the great fear that they've always been able to. It's a trope. So it is ingrained in the quote unquote subconscious and then the psyche when you hear us in our sexual nature. If we are somewhere being primal or if we're somewhere being quote unquote, if we're abusing that power that we have, yeah, yeah, it's going to generate a lot of energy. So people are going to be stuck on this story. You know what I mean? They're going to be stuck on the media, whoever's orchestrating this takedown, whoever's orchestrating this quote unquote assassination, because this is an assassination of this is a character assassination. And it's literally an assassination of a public figure. This is a takedown. Let's be clear. Okay. This is a takedown. It depends on how you look at it. It could be a hit from the spirit realm. Okay. This could be a hit from the other realm for all of that blood and all of those bodies this allegedly that he has on his hands. We're in those days and times where a lot of people are getting their karma from the other side for shit that they did to put other people over there. So it could be coming from the spiritual realm. He could be getting what is known as his karma, or this could be a political this could be a takedown that's coming from the highest rungs of society based off of the fallout that he had with his parent company, who happened to be a conglomerate, a global conglomerate, an empire, right? Diego or Diageo, depends on how you pronounce it, right? And you got to, think about it. Department of Homeland Security is the ones involved in it, and it's been known that, is it real? That's their wing of American government, or that's their agency that they completely control, would be the Homeland Security thing. But anyway, they're in charge of this thing, along with the feds, right? So the most important thing that they wanted from him was those tapes. You understand? He was in possession of some chess pieces that he was able to utilize in his power brokering, in that the way he was able to bully niggas, the way that he was able to kind of like hang certain things over people's heads, and the way that he was able to, get in any room that he wanted to be in, and the way that he was able to stay very relevant in that underworld is because he had those tapes. Okay. He had those tapes. And he basically, there's men like him throughout history. J. Edgar Hoover, there were mafia people who had the tapes. The Black Godfather and them had the tapes. And some other people had the tapes. And there's a power, Epstein had the tapes. That I think even Weinstein had tapes and whatnot. There's a power position when you have blackmail and you're able to control people through their sexual proclivities. Keep in mind, this is Scorpio. This man, P. Diddy, Scorpio, right? So he gets down. Okay, he's with the get down. And he was the one who was in charge of a lot of things. I feel that the people, the Europeans who don't like to get their hands dirty, they gave him the quote unquote carte blanche to basically, do whatever he wanted to do, to do whatever he wanted to do, and that he did. Okay, so here we go.
Of these crimes, including if he's gotten rid of anything, sold anything, or his assets have diminished in value, they intend to take from him equal value to everything he's being charged with, regardless. They'll basically claw it back from him. It's worth noting that these charges are being brought in the Southern District of New York.
All right, this is my dude right here. I believe his handle is Cancel My Clothing. I think it's called Cancel This Clothing Company or something. But yeah, he be going in with the research. He goes in with the research.
In the studio, telling me to not be the Joker anymore, that I was breaching the trademark. And so, I don't know what I'm going to be this year. But I will say to the motherfucker that took all this time, you talking about sending me this 6 full papers. I'm not even going to show the business on the papers. But to tell me not to be the Joker, I want to tell you, you win. I'm not going to be the Joker this year. Just because your ass had enough time to fuck up my motherfucking Halloween. Now watch.
They've released the indictment against Diddy, meaning they're telling us what they're charging him with now that they've arrested him. And there's some things that are missing. It's 14 pages long, and if you're on X, where we can post links, the link will be right below. Basically, they're charging him with guns, prostitution, drugs, and the whole racketeering thing, but they are not charging him with anything related to minors, anything related to video or sexual blackmail. And notably, Lucian Grange's name, the CEO of Universal Music Group that was in the original allegations, his name's nowhere to be found. We'll dig into some theories on all that in just a second, but first, some key points and a funny thing. They talk about the freak-offs, and they talk about raiding his home and finding supplies for the freak-offs. Notably, apparently in the raid of Diddy's home, they found more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Bro. They are clearly drawing from the Cassie lawsuit with statements like, these assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. I'm sure she's not the only witness they've got. These occasions included instances in which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. Cassie alleged that at one point it was more than a week, maybe multiple weeks, to heal from her injuries. It's a fucked up lawsuit. He's also charged with tampering with witnesses by bribing and intimidating them, including acts of violence, including kidnapping and arson. Multiple counts of that. They also found 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers and a drum magazine, along with a ton of drugs and other stuff. They list out the specific drug compounds. And now here's the bigger picture. What they're actually doing to him is they're basically charging him with enough to put him away for good, theoretically. And they're seeking to forfeit any and all property, real and personal, involved and used in any of these crimes, as well as any property, stuff, profits derived.
That's why I'm saying that this is a hit job. That's why it begins to look like he's being cleaned out by the higher ups at Diageo, who have the influence to use the federal government and Department of Homeland Security as their quote unquote, as their hitters. You feel me? They have the power to do that. They can activate what it is that's being activated. They have the power to get an investigation opened up on Diddy, especially if they know that there's an existence of certain tapes that will incriminate him, right? Where there are illegal activities taking place in those tapes, like drug usage. They arrested the young mule, the white boy who's his mule, the one who was his runner, who was the drug carrier. I'm sure that person already went states and they flipped and whatnot. So they already have them on being on the drugs and the supplies of the drugs, all of that. They got them red-handed on that. Then they have videos in 4K where they're taking the drug and they're high on the drugs and they're administering the drugs. Then if they have any type of footage where underage women or anybody of a quote unquote, minor were being sexually assaulted or taken advantage of, that's a nail in the coffin. And if there's any video where he's with any women who were missing or considered to be, any type of runaways, or they were missing, or orphans and stuff like that, yeah, that's it. Or if there's any videos that corroborate any of these lawsuits from these 20 some odd lawsuits that are on him, if he had any tapes in his tape collection that corroborate these lawsuits, man. So once again, they're going to have this in a news cycle for a very long time. But what they want to do is to clean him out completely of all of his quote unquote belongings. He got out of line. The feds are known to basically utilize asset forfeiture. So this is nothing new. However, the way that they're putting this thing together, what I'm saying, their aim is to completely just clean them out. This indictment in and of itself is enough to have him turn into Frank Lucas, Nicky Barnes. Remember, this is a Harlem nigga. This indictment, just the fact just the fact that they're threatening to take his assets or the little assets that he has and leave those boys and those twin girls and the rest of his family, you know, in debt and basically broke. He's, that he'll put his pride to the side and he'll go states if they're looking for him to go states. I don't even know if the federal government is interested in hearing about what Clive Davis and other people were into. That's really not how they work. They kind of work to protect those people. It's not one of those type of things where they're looking to get to the top of the pyramid. It seems as if they got deputized to take down somebody who was a threat to a corporate entity who this $1 billion corporate entity that has a lot of power, way more power than an uppity Negro with a drug habit, but he got it in him to be a snitch. I feel like he's Donnie Brasco more so than anything. I feel like he was always working for them. Um, I feel like he might not even be in custody like that right now. There's no telling where he is. You know what I mean? He's a triple agent. If you were to ask me, he's been on payroll and he's been approached by these people, and he has the there's nothing about him that tells me that he wouldn't be able to be flipped. You understand? No. Let's not be that naive and give him that much credit. There's nothing in him. There's nothing that he's ever done. He has not shown you any reason whatsoever to be somebody who stands on a code that you may be familiar with called the streets. That's not what he's here to do. He's really anti-streets. He's really anti all of that. He's basically the opposite of that shit.
From or proceeds obtained from any of these crimes, including if he's gotten rid of anything, sold anything, or his assets have diminished in value, they intend to take from him equal value to everything he's being charged with, regardless. They'll basically claw it back from him. It's worth noting that these charges are being...
When they got you, all they got to say is they have you on suicide watch, and that's how you could be in Tulum somewhere, out of the way. That's the easiest way to say, because if they say, yo, he's on suicide watch, then if I know somebody that's in the jail and I'm like, yo, y'all niggas was that child with Puffy, you seen Puffy at the doctor's, and they be like, nah, Puffy is on suicide watch, so really nobody even knows if if he's really not it's tricky. I'm just one of those people where I would need to hear from somebody who's a higher up, who could be like, yo, there's a camera that they could look at every day and see him right there. There's no way that he cannot be there, because my suspicions say they take your ass into a tunnel and, you could be in one of these office buildings somewhere in Manhattan or in Brooklyn somewhere. You don't have to be in them damn cells. You thought his passports was revoked. Look, the way that the feds work, you don't have to worry about all of that stuff. The way that the feds work, you don't got to worry about all of that stuff. If they decide that if they decide that they're going to take you into they are the system. You talk about the system, they are the system. So they can absorb you into any type of part of the system and, hide you somewhere, move you around, do anything they want to do. It's the feds.
Brought in the Southern District of New York, which is notoriously corrupt, and it is the same district that brought the charges against Epstein. Although they did put Epstein in jail, so I guess that's something going for them. So anyways, the pessimistic take here is that they're not charging him with any of the darkest and most important shit. They're letting all the other people off the hook. Lucien Grange is not named. There's no upwards charges. They're not going for the big conspiracy. No mention of sexual blackmail or the videotapes, the hidden cameras, any of that. That's kind of whack. The optimistic take, which is totally plausible, Liz Crokin has shared this take, and she's been on this longer than anyone, just about. Very possible is that they're using this strategically in order to go after Diddy hard enough to make him squeal on the bigger fish involved, so that they can start making more arrests and start going after the larger organization, because they are charging him with racketeering, and they do clearly lay out a criminal organization which he was a ringleader in. But that's where things stand right now. Personally, I am not optimistic that we're going to get what this case really deserves, and I am not optimistic that the big fish are actually going to get fried. I'd bet they're going to arrest a bunch of other people that you've never heard of, maybe a couple rappers, maybe a producer or two that were involved in this scheme and did horrible things and deserve to go to prison for the rest of their lives. But that they are not going to go up to people like Lucien, that they're not going to go towards the video blackmail angle, and that we're never going to see those tapes or hear about that blackmail ring. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it cracks wide open. But I don't think Jay-Z's worried too much right now. But he should be, because we're coming for him. We're coming for all of them. All lies will be exposed.
So yeah, there are people who want to see the
Well, tonight they arrested P. Diddy. News just broke that they took him into custody in New York City. So I figured now's as good a time as any to shit all over Sean again and remind everyone just how horrible this man is. So if you haven't read the court documents and done any of the other research on this guy, this producer he worked with named Lil Rod brought this lawsuit against him. Rodney Jones v. Sean Combs, alleging RICO allegation, which is like organized crime. And he alleged that a member of this RICO organization was none other than the CEO of Universal Music Group, Lucien Grange. Universal Music Group produced 1/3 of the top 100 songs last year, including...
We'll never see those tapes. Besides, who really wants to see them? I don't. There is a whole underworld industry of voyeurism. There's a whole niche industry of voyeurism. We said it before, and we say it again. The internet is built off of voyeurism, okay? The video that will break the internet in more ways than a Kim Kardashian, Sexy Red sex tape leak, or anything will be a Diddy tape. The world gets to see Sean Diddy Combs, right, in the act of fornication. Now, in a voyeurism world, people want to see you in your private life. Okay? That's why OnlyFans is what it is. And it's on a steady incline. And, you know, people like, what is a Bad Barbie and other girls and whatnot, other performers are having, $50 million quote unquote, Ruby Rose and whatnot. They got $50 million, $100 million off of voyeurism, right? It's more than just adult entertainment. People are interested in people's private life, their proclivities. So this case, as salacious as it is, with the 1,000 bottles of baby oil, right? Because I like mine's oiled up too. Whether it's coconut oil, some olive oil, I like shiny buns, bro. You feel me? I like to see something oiled up. Facts. I don't know I don't know what's wrong with that. You know what I mean? When did that become an indictment? When was that indictable? You know what I'm talking about? Like, I need mine's greased up too. You know what I'm saying? I like oiled bubbles. Yes, they look better like that. Instead of some ashy buns, give me mine's with the good oil on it. Give me some shea butter. I will lather it with some shea butter. I will slap some olive oil on that thing. I will put some coconut oil. I will drip, 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 drip. Are you dumb? You know what I'm talking about? Two bellies slapping each other, this oiled up. Yeah, that's goals, my nigga. The fuck? That's goals. But people are into other people's proclivities. And if they could, they would. If they could watch you having sex, they would watch you having sex. People want to see that. There's a whole lot of people who are fake acting like they're mad at P. Diddy, and low key, they want to see those tapes. They want to binge on those tapes. The same way that they wanted to see the Drake leak, the same way that they wanted to see the Sexy Red leak. That doesn't make anybody gross. It doesn't make anybody nasty. People have grown up. There's whole generations that grown up as voyeurism, watching other people fornicate. That this is to them. There's nothing wrong with it. Those R. Kelly tapes is what we grew up on. And as holier than thou and as judgmental as we were acting, like we need to do something about this. Yo, put that tape in, son. Put that tape in. Y'all got the popcorn? Yeah, put that tape in. Roll up, roll up. Niggas was having watch parties on Child Corn, right? With R. Kelly. They were willing, they wanted to see how R. Kelly put it down. And then they were even like, yo, he's eating the booty, y'all. You know what I mean? Like there was a play-by-play on R. Kelly's performance. Okay. This was an event like how the Thriller videos back in the days was when the whole family came together to watch Thriller. This was an event. Let's be very clear. We created a voyeurism BET uncut society. So those tapes are going to leak and people are going to consume them, and it is going to break the internet. It's going to break the internet. It's going to do more numbers than any other leak that you've ever seen in the history of leakage.
Taylor Swift, quote, while
These are the leaks of all leaks, my nigga. The P. Diddy fucking sex tapes. These are the leaks of all leaks, my genius. It doesn't get bigger than this.
living and traveling with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones discovered that Combs had hidden cameras in every room of his homes. Mr. Jones believed that Mr. Combs had recordings of defendants Lucian Charles Grange, Ethiopia Haber, as well as other celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and athletes. Upon information and belief, these individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent, and as in the case with the homosexual sex tape of Stevie J that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Upon information and belief, due to this treasure trove of evidence he has in his possession, Mr. Combs believes that he is above the law and is untouchable. Well, the diddler just got touched. But don't worry, I'm not going to drop that spice and then not give you more details. So Diddy was big on recording all kinds of things, and he frequently took this guy's phone from him and recorded things at parties. So this dude wound up with hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity on his own cell phone, including the acquisition, use, distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms, the displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms, Combs providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers at his homes in California, New
Diddy was on shrooms, y'all. He was on penis envy.
York, the Virgin Islands, and Florida. Yes, those Virgin Islands. Diddy's brother, Christian, drugging and sexually assaulting a woman. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact of his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, which is horrendous, and I'm not going to read from it. It's absolutely disgusting. This guy's a piece of shit. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr., yes, that actor, Cuba Gooding Jr., sexually harassing and assaulting Mr. Jones. Yes, here are photos of Cuba doing the things. Here's more photos of Cuba Gooding Jr. trying to fuck this guy. Quote, forcibly touching Mr. Jones, fondling Mr. Jones' leg, his upper inner thighs and his groin, the small of his back, near his buttocks and his shoulders. Jones rejected his advances, and Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcibly pushed him away. The following is a screenshot. Homie witnessed a shooting where either Diddy or his brother shot a dude in the bathroom and then got the cops to just totally not prosecute, not investigate, say it was a drive-by. They drove away. But what Diddy's scheme was all about was getting rappers to do gay stuff on camera, though they did not know it, so that he had blackmail on them so that he could kind of control them and thereby control the whole music industry that he had kind of helped create. And to be fair, maybe he like saw some signs that maybe it would work, but apparently homie wasn't having it. Sorry, I'm just making jokes. Quote, Mr. Combs, Diddy, went so far as to share a video of Stevie J anally penetrating a Caucasian male without a condom. This was done to ease Mr. Jones's anxiety concerning homosexuality. According to Diddy, this is a normal practice in the music industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it. Diddy informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with rapper Redacted, R&B singer Redacted, and Stevie J. Yes, Diddy's having gay orgies and using it to try to get homie to have more gay orgies because that's what he's all about. Mr. Combs promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he did gay stuff. So Diddy is claiming that he has the power and leverage to get some random dude to win Producer of the Year at the Grammys.
He got Carisha those awards, so it ain't that far-fetched, right? He was getting Carisha those awards at BT, so it ain't that far-fetched.
Grammys, and he's leveraging that to get gay sex and blackmail from that gay sex. Diddy's assistant, defendant Coram, required all employees from the butler, the chef, to the housekeepers to walk around with a pouch or fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, marijuana, gummies, Tucci, mixture of ecstasy and cocaine, at all times, so that Diddy could get high anywhere and everywhere. And yes, homeboy has photos of all of it.
Fair Use Act, copyright disclaimer, Fair Use Act. Yeah, so like I was saying, they snatched up his supplier. His drug supplier. So he's already cooked. Like I said, he's already turned state. There's nothing that's telling me that he hasn't already flipped. He's already going Frank Lucas because it's impossible to fight this shit. You know, it's impossible to fight it. And they won't go to trial because they will not allow the discovery of what they have, what the prosecution has. Nobody on the Puff Daddy side, nobody in the industry, nobody whatsoever wants any of that to ever hit the trial, to whereas the public can access that. They do not want evidence A, B, C, and D to ever reach the quote-unquote court. That's not the plan. So either he has to be Epstein, they're gonna have to Epstein, or allegedly, or he's gonna have to plead out, take a plea, or he's gonna have to go state and snitch on somebody else of a higher ranking.
Diddy maintained this RICO enterprise by using threats of violence, threatening to eat his face, displaying and distributing guns in plaintiffs present, bragging about having law enforcement under control, bragging about murdering people, and bragging about bribing witnesses and jurors in the criminal case concerning the 1999 New York City nightclub shooting with Shine. Are you getting the picture yet? And it would appear that one of the ways that Diddy had law enforcement under control was through his chief of security, Fahim Muhammad, who the whole staff was allegedly told to contact if anything ever went wrong with police or law enforcement, and he would be the fixer that would make it all disappear. Well, Fahim Muhammad is the former head of security for Michael Jackson. This kid had just graduated college with like a business degree, and he became the head of security for the King of Pop at age 21 or 22. And then, whoopsies, that same year, head of Pop died. This guy was second on the scene. And then his very next job, after failing, was to become the head of Diddy's entire operation. Think about it. The head of security in a blackmail ring needs to know all the dirt. Otherwise, he's not securing shit.
I agree. I don't know if it's in him to be suicidal, right? But it's definitely in him to go state. By show of hands in the audience, let's take a poll. Press 1 if you think Diddy is gonna go state and he won't spend a day in the big house, he's not gonna go to where Tukey Williams and them was at. I don't see Diddy walking the yard like R. Kelly and them niggas. I don't see Diddy walking the yard. I don't see Diddy walking the yard of Pelican Bay. Press 1 if he finna go state Donnie Brasco, Henry Hill, Sammy the Bull on these niggas. Cornelius. If he gonna go Cornelius on these niggas, press 1. If he's taking it to trial and carrying on his big back, if he's saying, you know what, I'm gonna just lay up for 3 years, I'm gonna get right, I'm gonna get my wave spinning, and we're gonna take this to trial, take that. I'm gonna beat that shit. I'm gonna come home and sue these niggas and get my mansion back. Press 2. You know? Gene Deal is having the best. Yeah. Scorpios, you know, we self-sabotage, but you know, nah, he remember, he's a funny guy. He's going to the big house. He won't kill himself to go up north. That's not, you know, it's another Diddy party up there. You know what I'm talking about? It's the all orange party instead of the all white. It's the all orange yacht party. He's not gonna kill himself. He'll willingly go to the big house. You know. Yeah, he was singing like a canary. You feel me? I got him for singing.
Diddy formed his record label in the first place with a lot of help, basically being selected by Clive Davis, who's got a lot of mob ties and other stuff in his history. But he's been running huge portions of the music industry before we were all born. We're talking back to signing names originally like Janis Joplin, Pink Floyd, Aerosmith, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I say all of that to just show you the scope that this is not just one rapper doing bad things. This is the whole music industry. This is how it runs. Diddy is not an isolated incident. He is the status quo. And chances are he was not the only blackmail ring operating in the music industry. We'll go into that another time. If you want more details about the Michael Jackson rabbit hole, Candace Owens produced one of the best videos I have ever seen about Michael Jackson. It's a work of art. Definitely watch it. I cannot imagine how you would watch that video and not come away realizing that, holy shit, Michael Jackson was framed. All of the charges were bullshit. The FBI investigated him. They found nothing. Everyone close to him said that he never did anything to kids, and the only people that accused him of that clearly were standing to gain things from making false accusations. Go watch the video. Huge props to Lil Rod for having the guts to bring the lawsuit that eventually has now brought Diddy down, or at least gotten him into behind bars. This dude had every indication that he would get killed for doing that, and certainly that he would get blacklisted from the whole music industry. Props, bro. And thanks to 50 Cent or whoever else helped protect him and bring these charges, whoever else got his back, good job, guys. As for this piece of shit, he's not going to last very long. He's going to squeal like a fucking pig, and there's an awful lot of powerful people that cannot have that. So watch out for the Epstein treatment. Diddy did not kill himself. And I guarantee you that the FBI is not going to be releasing all those tapes of all those celebrities and politicians and powerful executives that he has blackmail on. They're keeping that shit locked down because that's how they do. Status quo. So key takeaways. All the music you listen to is fucking fake. They're promoting bad artists that they can blackmail so they can control them, so that they can keep running their fucking scheme, and they can give you awful messaging. Think about the messaging in all of the artists that people like Diddy have promoted. Guns, violence, hoes, drugs. That's not authentic. That's being promoted by a blackmail ring in the music industry. It's like if Jeffrey Epstein was the one choosing what music got produced so that he could perpetuate his schemes. That's what your top hits radio stations have been playing for your entire life. We're not talking about one rapper that did some bad shit. We're talking about a systemic issue that just got broadcast across national television, and now they're going to try to cover it all up with everything they've got. Don't let them.
Yes, that's why Monday we are going to be digging into this whole topic and opening it up. We're not going to allow this thing to close up. This is it's opportune time. It's a teaching moment. This is a teaching moment. Aesthetic nihilism. It's time to help open up people's eyes to the spells that they were under.
Fight the power.
This is a clip of me in a video that we did, the Great Fall #7. All right, this was Third Eye Thursdays 187, the Great Fall #7, and we were talking about Diddy back here.
That's the only part of Tupac they didn't clone. You feel me? They was like, we gonna leave that clone alone, right? No clone alone. Not Home Alone, but clone alone. They was like, yeah, leave the Black Panther part out. We're not gonna clone that part, not that part. So we've arrived at the juncture in the road where, we've gotten to that part in the movie, because in the movie there's always the plot twist, right? So we've arrived at that place in the movie where the plots have twisted, okay? And we now find ourselves in that part of the Tyler Perry production where niggas be like, stop playing. No, he didn't. We in that part of the movie with Shamal Moore, starts getting in his bag. You know what I'm saying? When they do the Lifetime television story, and the nigga who's gonna play Puffy when Christian Cole when they got Christian Combs or Tubi doing the Puff story. Yeah, this is that fucking bump of the road, my niggas. This is that turn that I'm talking about. This is the plot twist. Who'd have fucking thought in the year 20, take that. Who would have thought in the year 23, while on the Diego campaign, while on the motherfucking, while on the goddamn Deuce, what's that? Oh, there is no more Ciroc, right? Post Ciroc. Who would have thought in 2023, post Ciroc boy, you know what I mean? Multi-billionaire, the succeeder of Kanye West's fucking fortune, right? You know what I mean? Who would have thought who would have thought post Ciroc, right? Post off the grid, right? My nigga Post off the grid, because he's officially off the grid, my niggas. If you go to fucking Apple Music, and if you look for him, the nigga album says off the grid. So, if there was an artist who was prophetic, he is him. He is him. If there was ever an artist who communicated through his music, he is him, young Sean Combs. But I never had on my bingo card that post Ciroc, post Diego Puffy would be embroiled in a Tupac murder investigation that got opened up, right? Because of another nigga who can't help but to, chase behind Charleston White and try to get podcast of the year. I mean, this nigga's clocking in a lot of hours on them podcast tours, bro. I know them podcasts be paying, but Keefy D was running up some motherfucking, he was trying to run up some money. I think he was trying to buy Tubi or something, because he was out there talking like a motherfucker who, for anybody who could provide a bucket of some in and out, I mean, he was giving Chick-fil-A. Keefy D is giving Chick-fil-A. He was giving out interviews for anybody that has some Chick-fil-A, and some merchandise.
He see Charleston White cleaning up. That nigga went on a motherfucking tour. He said, nigga, I got salacious information. You know what I mean? I'm going to squeeze the juice out of this California orange. You know what I'm talking about? Keefy D was trying to land a reality show. You know what I'm talking about? The 4th season of Who Killed Tupac. So, legend has it that there's an undeniable connection that you can make not only to the court of law, but to people's court, and even to people like Ray Charles and Stephen motherfucking Wonder. That this man, Keefy D, is tied in so many ways to Sean Combs that is past coincidence. It don't make no sense. I mean, I'm surprised Puffy wasn't in one of this nigga's videos talking about take that, take that. But let's go. When you want to know about what kind of person we dealing with, right? I got to keep in mind and preface that this man is a Scorpion, a sign that I share along with my brother Blue Pillar, right? Sean Puffy Combs is a November Scorpio at that, right? There's a part of him that the public gets to see, and there's definitely a part of him that the public doesn't get to see. Similar that there's a part of you that the public gets to see, and then there's a part of you that the public doesn't get to see, and then there's a part of you that nobody gets to see. We all have these traits. So this is not about highlighting what somebody else has and not acknowledge what you have, right? So we're good on that. But one thing we don't know is behind closed doors how this man is. So this man's security guard, who's right next to him, he gets to see his private face. He gets to see what he does when the cameras is off. He gets to see how this man moves when y'all not looking. He was like, this nigga's so foul. He was about to have Tupac's fiance, Khadida Jones, drink his urine at an event because he peed in the cup or peed in the bottle or something. And then the sister came and sat down to talk to him, I think about Tupac's murder or something of that degree. And she was about to take a sip. She was there when he got killed in Vegas, might I add. This is how rituals work, right? This is how spell casting continues when you tie people up, having her drink his urine. Why would the security guard make something like that up? So I'm just giving you some insight as to what people are when people ain't looking. This is allegedly. This is allegedly. This is what his security guard, Gene, alleged, right? So this individual, like I said, there was a falling out between these three, Puffy, Big, and Pac. But before there was a falling out between Big and Pac, there was a falling out between Puff and Suge, right? So I'm going to read an article from 2013, okay, that basically explained who this man Von Zip is, right? I used to live in Harlem. When I moved to Harlem, I moved to 129th Street in 2007. Approximately one block over, just one, was a nightclub that was owned by this man Von Zip, right? Who is a very influential gangster, not a gangbanger. Okay, he was groomed by Bumpy Johnson. Okay, so this man was picked and chosen and groomed similar to how gangsters all around the world are, right? And he is the bridge. He is the quote unquote bridge to East Coast bad boy activities and West Coast Crip activities because of his background, his name, his face card, you know what I mean? And the fact that he's one of those New York legends who could go, who set up shop on Tri-Coast, Bi-Coast, many other places. Because it's not where you from, right? It's where you at. So here's the story right here. No disrespect. All right, it says Zip died August 27th, 2012, right? Zip died on August 27th, 2012. So the title of this is Eric Von Zip Martin, the last link connecting Puffy to Pac's assassination passes away, by Jackie Jasper. This is written in February the 23rd, 2013. So it just gives you some insight as to how long people have been talking about situations that are being spoken of at a global level now. This is not nationwide. This is not regional. It's not a rumor. It's a global conversation. I saw articles translated in Mandarin about Puffy involved in Tupac's murder. This is a global story. This is a story that people are waiting for a culmination to. So something that started all the way back then is beginning to brew. It has brewed, it has spilled, and is about to spill over. So we're just reporting it from a perspective of the news. We've been highlighting this situation and this story over the years. And we've also been talking about Tupac recently. So it feels good to know that Tupac back, because his spirit is welcome in this reality. Okay, so he's the last dude connecting Puffy to Pac's assassination. Zip died August 27, 2012. No disrespect to Chris Lighty, but everybody who's anybody in rap knew Zip. Big, Pac, Puff, Jimmy Henchman, Bumpy, Barry Hankerson, Frank, Janice, Melvin, Jekyll, Wolf, Buck, and Big L. Global Music Corporations too. In death as in life, Zip made his exit in style, an impeccable suit, an ornate casket, a horse-drawn carriage, leading a star-studded procession up and down the streets of Harlem to Benta's funeral home, with Little Kim and Cameron among the celebrities gathered for the wake. Many wondered whether Zip's favorite nephew would show, that bad boy CEO of many names, Sean John Combs, Puff Daddy, Diddy, I Am Diddy, Swag, chairman of the board, and who recently started referring to himself as, get it, Barack Obama. Back in the day, Puff and Zip were tight, logging long days at Bad Boy and longer nights at Diddy's house. Although Diddy had not seen Zip in ages, he blew in to pay tribute to his uncle and said a few words in honor of the magnanimous OG who literally saved his life. Not only was Zip the godfather of Biggie's son, he was a Harlem music aficionado who owned a nightclub on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard, Zip Code. While his contributions to Bad Boy are unclear, he co-executive produced records with Puff's close friend, SAR Management Chief Jimmy Henchman, and Blackground boss Barry Hankerson, including the soundtrack for Exit Wounds, a film that starred Steven Seagal and DMX. Barry is Aaliyah's uncle too. Following in the footsteps of his mentor, Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson, Zip semi-ruled Harlem's underworld on and off for decades. He knew every OG on the East Coast and practically every new kid on the block across the nation. Zip drove a bulletproof Mercedes, operated offices on both coasts, and moved effortlessly in and out of both entertainment and underworld circles. In fact, it was Zip who introduced Puff to the Southside Crips, a formidable street gang based in Compton, California, with whom Zip had operated a profitable pharmaceutical business for nearly a decade. A fortuitous introduction indeed. Now keep in mind, y'all, once again, Zip is the plug. The gang are the workers. They're also the muscle. So we just have to establish the relationship, right? The Crips came to the rescue when bad blood broke out between Bad Boy Entertainment and Death Row Records, where Suge Knight employed Compton Blood Gang members as bodyguards. Crips and Bloods have long been mortal enemies and warring factions. The Crips say Zip worked out a deal with Puff for the gang to guard Bad Boy whenever they travel west. The shot caller of the gang has intimated that the arrangement commenced in Anaheim following a 1995 Jodeci concert. Bad Boy partied with the Crips in Vegas, the gang says, after Mike Tyson's 1995 prize fight with Peter McNeely. Members of the gang attended West Coast recording sessions, and according to the Crips, Zip brought Big into Compton that year to check out South Park. An argument erupted in March 1996 backstage at the Soul Train Awards. Crip gang members drew guns to defend Big and Bad Boy against Pac and his Death Row Blood bodyguards. A fierce standoff ensued, but no shots were fired. Right? They got footage about that, and that gets brought up a lot. The Compton Police Department, LAPD, Las Vegas Police, and FBI conducted an early morning raid in Compton in October 1996, locking up dozens of Crip and Blood gang members. According to the search warrant, the cops were trying to quell a gang war sparked by Pac's murder. Some of the Crips arrested in that sweep, the cops alleged, had provided protection for Bad Boy. According to Murder Rap, a book published last year by ex-LAPD detective Greg Kading, a Crip shot caller said Puffy ordered to pay the gang $1 million for the murders of Suge and Pac. Puff allegedly ordered the hit after dinner at Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset Boulevard, according to LAPD records. The Crip shot Pac September the 7th in a drive-by about a block from the Vegas Strip, following a Mike Tyson Bruce Seldon championship bout. He died 9/13. 6 months later, Biggie was gunned down in an identical drive-by outside the Peterson Automotive Museum, about a block from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Several witnesses inside the Peterson party told police they saw Southside shot caller approach Puff and ask if he needed security, after which they saw him approach Little C's and ask the same question. Witnesses then saw the shot caller approach Biggie, who told his bodyguard to let him through. "He's cool, I know him," Big said. The two spoke briefly. Moments after leaving the party, Big was murdered. Okay. Hold on. Zip was at both crime scenes. I repeat, Zip was at both crime scenes. Right? This man has the luck of the draw. He's at the crime scene of two legends, two icons, two titans, right? Both at the crime scene of their murder, conspicuously. He was with Foxy Brown at the MGM when Pac got lit up. And he was with Keyshawn Johnson on Fairfax Avenue before Big wound up in the morgue. Now, that doesn't put him any place because legend, street gangsters such as himself were at all of the big events. And these two murders occurred at two big events. The quote unquote Vibe Award, the Vibe Party, and also at the Tyson fight. So this is where you find people of his ilk. So that doesn't make it seem that he set it up, but He does have that's shoot. Play with all that luck, you should be at the crap table. Those are facts you won't find on Sean Combs' Wikipedia page. Zip is mentioned nowhere. He's not the only omission. The almost Forbes billionaire photoshops out every undesirable who helped pave his way to fame and fortune, no matter how important a role they played. Unlike you and me, Diddy need not be defined by pesky, inconvenient facts. In the tradition of a cheesy bad boy repackage, Diddy remixes his past to remove socially unacceptable figures as Uncle Zip, as well as recently convicted crack kingpin James Roseman, aka Jimmy Henchman, a longtime friend and business associate. Diddy history deletes any reference to his former best friend, murdered felon Anthony Wolf Jones, and incarcerated elementary school buddies and business partners Corey Buck Jacobs and Kenneth Big L Kemp, as well as Black Mafia family drug lord Demetrius Big Meat Flannery. In Diddy history, many ex-friends, like many bad boy artists, simply do not exist. Zip was very much alive the day he called me 15 years ago out of the blue after I wrote his name in an article about Big Stall LAPD murder probe. He didn't like the piece and he let me know. Zip and I first met in 2000 on a brisk winter evening in Manhattan. I offered to buy him a drink at the King Cole, my favorite bar. As I waited for him to arrive, my cell rang. Zip asked if I could meet him out in front of the St. Regis instead. The second I walked through the door, a tricked out Escalade rolled up with Zip behind the wheel, decked out in a plush full-length mink coat and a matching pork pie hat. The passenger window rolled down. Zip signaled for me to jump in. We drove around Manhattan, talking through our misunderstandings, listening to music, discussing art, crime, and the quality of California hemp. Zip stopped at a liquor store, bought some provisions, and kept driving. An hour later, he dropped me back in the St. Regis. We shook hands, and he drove off down 55th Street. Over the next 10 years, I took the A train up to Harlem every time I traveled east. One evening at Zip Code over scotch, Zip bitterly complained about how Puff had stabbed him in the back for no apparent reason, just abandoned him. Look, you come all the way from California, 3,000 miles. You make a point to stop by and come and see me, Zip said. Puffy has never set foot in his club. Zip's health deteriorated swiftly. He spent years in and out of the hospital battling cancer. Plus, he suffered incapacitating bouts of severe back pain following a serious car accident in which he was rear-ended. Last week, artists, ops, cops, and criminals across the nation were abuzz about Zip's passing. One infamous wise ex-colleague summed up the situation succinctly. His secrets die with him. Okay. For the record, I sent Combs a dozen questions on Friday regarding Zip and their longstanding downfall of a P. Diddy and whatnot. I want to see LAPD. I want to see the police who are behind these murders to be brought to justice. I want that to happen. I want to see the hand that's behind the scenes working a lot of these things do what needs to be done. But if this man right here has anything to do with the death of this man right here, then at the end of the day, I lose all respect whatsoever for that man. He's a coward. You feel me? And he discredits everything that he's done. And all of the robbing that he's done to his artists, all of the misfortune, all of the bad karma that people around him have experienced. If he's one of the people that are responsible for taking the life of Tupac Amaru Shakur out of jealousy and out of fear and whatnot, and out of the fact that he couldn't do it himself, then it doesn't come to no surprise why everything around him began to quote unquote be cursed. And there will be no indication that that curse is not going to continue to afflict them. Because keep in mind, they have taken things away from him that he claims he loves. You know, misfortune has followed this man ever since that fateful night. You know, if you humbly ask me, because they'll give you everything and take it all away from you. You know, so it remains to be seen. But what I do know is this is the architect. We don't have to speculate, and I don't have to take sides. I was there. This man comes out of Clive Davis, Andre Harrell, but it's really Clive Davis that you zero in on from Arista. That would be the quote unquote the tentacle that's attached to the agenda or attached to the quote unquote operation, because Clive Davis is CIA all the way. Okay. He was the one that took the white paper that they put together on how to infiltrate black music, and they basically they deputized him. He was the one that took it and ran with it. So he winds up with Bad Boy Music, and he gives this man a budget, and with that budget and with the backing of the power of Arista and a Clive Davis, you know, basically he takes over the radio. And his sound, which was a very fire sound. I'm never gonna stun on the sound. The sound was it shifted the culture. Shifted the culture. You know, it shifted the culture. It was corporate America's and the shareholders, right? The shareholders, you know, who began to see if we fund a certain part of hip hop, starting for what was going on in Hollywood. And shout out to Brother Obar. I want to invite Brother Obar to come on his show and break down some of the information. He did a live on Instagram. He was bodying that shit, you know what I'm talking about? And he was talking about how everybody in LA got a SAG card. You know, a lot of those people are Screen Actor Guild employees. They got to have a SAG card. These are actors. So the commercialization of hip hop commences underneath the watch of Sean Puffy Combs, who is pushed to the front to be the successor, you know, of the Def Jam era and whatnot. And his marquee artist is Biggie Smalls. His marquee artist is Christopher Wallace. And what they bring forth is the quote unquote tunnel era. Bad Boy era is tied into the tunnel era. And what that is, in so many words in a nutshell, is that it makes hip hop a club culture. It was already a club culture. It was already in the clubs, but the Bad Boy in the tunnel era made it a 7-night club culture. 7 days of the night club culture. Whatchamacallit? A floss culture, a celebrate life culture. And that's when wealth, and that's when riches, and that's when materialism began to multiply magically. We cannot put them on a cross. That's not what we're doing. We're identifying architects. You don't have to crucify, degrade, diminish, or quote unquote mystify anybody's role. P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, white hair architect in the Matrix. He built this paradigm. This is coming from his quote unquote, not just him personally, of course, but he's the archetype. He's the architect. If there is another architect, please let me know. We're talking 92. We're talking 93. Remember, New Jack Swing, the tail end of the New Jack Swing. He brings in that sound with Jodeci. He brings in that sound with Mary J. He turns the R&B shit into a party, into more club music, into more of a quote unquote turn up, right? Then he starts putting his artists on a remix. He puts Big on a remix with Mary J. When he talking about skeeting with all of the, just give me all the chicken. He the shit where he talking about having sex with all of the R&B chicks and whatnot, and then he starts popping. Craig Mack, they come out with Big Mac, right? Then Biggie drops the album. Then Biggie does all of those remixes, and the tunnel takes off, and the rest is history. And he's also doing homecomings. They crushing the clubs. They just turn up club culture. And that's the time when people was getting street money and whatnot. So it all worked hand in hand. The rest is history. This whole shit turned into a big party with Big said party and bullshit. That's the era that was started. Party and bullshit. Total, can't you see? Right? Remember the remix with Biggie. Biggie got his name with the R&B remixes. So did Jay-Z. Jay-Z did the fucking Christian remix. Jay-Z did the shit You Shy. Jay-Z did, and then he did the shit with Foxy. He had to put a lot of work in for the females. Same thing with Big. Big had to put a lot of community service hours in. Puffy understood that as a Scorpio. He knew where to aim. He knew where to aim his quote unquote his directives. He knew who to appeal to. If there's anything genius about this man that he understands, you feel me, is the fact that he utilizes his Scorpio to zero in on that principle of the divine feminine, and he feeds them like Drake knows how to zero in and feed them too. And that's how he was able to get his success. Remember, he always had his mama with him. That's how he was able to level up. He did that shit through the energy of the Scorpio, right? Through his lower chakra, through his sacral, through his red, right? You know what I'm saying? It was primal with him, but he definitely felt he built on that feminine energy. You know what I mean? And it just so happens to be that the rumors on him is that he's wild feminine too. You know, or he's a switcher, he's switch hitter. And that was also an energy that became wild dominant. So that cross around his neck, right? Keep in mind, like I say, the earlier 90s, if you put the early 90s with the Wu-Tang and whatnot, if you measure up what was coming out of Queens when Nori was still God body and whatnot, when they was spitting lessons in between their rhymes, they wasn't doing Jesus piece. When Nas said that he went to hell with snuffing Jesus, that wasn't just because it rhymed and whatnot. That was coming from the teachings of what they was learning from both the God bodies and Malachi Z. York. The younger generation, remember Nas was like 16 back then. They had knowledge of self at around 12. They had knowledge of self around 12. People wasn't running around talking about white Jesus, bro, at all. They wasn't doing that. They wasn't doing that. Pac got away with the cross on his back because he didn't have no white man on it. They wasn't doing that. Up until like 92, bro, 91, 92, they was identifying clearly and blatantly, not speculatively. Not where you got to be like, oh, is somewhere in a 7 on his medallion? Well, I think that means that he knows. No, back then they were like, nigga, I know. Father Allah had said lesson 23, or you know what I mean? Like they were breaking it down. They were calling themselves God. They was moving on some God body shit, right? They were intertwining information and knowledge and jewelry, gems, right? It was interwoven into the lyrics, poetry. They were rocking African medallions, right? That's the 91, 90. Ask your peoples, 89 African medallions, X medallions with Malcolm X, my nigga, not crosses, not Jesus heads. This is what he brings. He is an archetype for that. Okay. So it went from the 5 to the 6. He's the archetype for this. He's the Roman. When in Rome, there's nothing more Romanistic than this nigga right here. He's Hellenistic and he's Romanistic, and it became more Roman the further that he went inside of Roman's kingdom. The more deeper he went inside of their halls and whatnot, is the more Roman that he becomes. And now on the other side of it, when you look into his eyes, when he takes those glasses off, he's not even there, bro. Talk about it. Talk about when in Rome. This nigga is not who this is not fucking making the band, did he? The nigga running around with Carisha, that's making the band, did he? Nah, bro. So as he goes down that hall, right? Think Mike Rubin White Party. Okay? Think Mike Rubin White Party. And then go all the way back to, think Studio 54, right? When they were turning out Fab Five Freddy and they was turning out Russell and all of them with the coke and whatnot, with the weirdo shit. Studio 54, where niggas had to do their first round of sacrifices and initiations to get into this good old boys club that they call hip hop, or erroneously call it hip hop, because it's not hip hop. The shit that they wound up building, this little world that they built inside of the culture, that's not hip hop. Nobody has identified exactly what that is. Those saunas where Russell used to be in there in full yoga mode, right? What's the nigga from Street Fighter? They be with the long limbs and whatnot. What's my guy's name? Dallism. He was in the fucking sauna and the Dallism pose, butt naked and whatnot, with Harvey Weinstein pulling up. Okay, with Jeff Epstein pulling up. What was the shit that they were going to St. James Island to do? Like, what was the name of that gang? You know what I'm talking about? What's the name of that part? That's not hip hop. So what's that? Okay. What's that? What's that shit behind that door that these niggas be saying that once you go behind that door, there's no coming back? What's that? That's not hip hop. The shit that was behind Africa Bambaata's door and whatnot, when he was turning these little children out, that's not fucking hip hop. Okay. So there's been some things that have been going on, right? But this era right here represented the materialism. But when you go material, right? Because they say you gotta pray for, you gotta do what? You gotta watch for what you pray for, and you gotta be mindful of what you give up for what you want to receive. Because if you want to receive something, you always got to give something up. So there was a time where our people didn't have much, and we would do anything to have something. Then when we started seeing depictions of us in these videos where we had everything, like Benzes, diamonds, champagne, mansions, Versace, designer, gold, diamonds, pearls, they were showing us a life that many of us, we didn't really have an idea or a roadmap on how we was going to live that life. We didn't have a business plan on how we were strategically going to create a startup and make a product and do some market research and then have a rollout with a soft launch, right? And then find funding and whatnot and get loans and begin a crowdfunding. We didn't have those type of roadmaps back in those days when they were showing us opulence. we had to learn through the music and through the rhythm and through our own rhythm how to make that shit a reality. And many of us attempted to do it, and some people fell trying to do it. Some people did not, make it to the finish line in the attempts of doing it. And then some people broke through and they achieved success. You know what I mean? And they were able to emulate and, keep up with the Combs. You feel me? And there's a lot of people in my generation that got absorbed into the music industry. They're in like executive positions now. There's just a lot of people who use this era that I'm speaking of to get themselves into a lot of different places. But if this era was to end, if something were to change, it would have to change with this man right here, because this man will be identified as the architect. So when I see things that are beginning to be revealed about this man, and when I'm seeing that this man may have to face challenges, and his legacy faces the possibility of being forever smeared, because if it's proven that he put the quote unquote hit out on Tupac Amaru Shakur, then there is no more, the P. Diddy, that quote unquote, that reputation, which is all that he only has his name, right? That name, right? That legacy is forever scarred. Rest in peace, Scar. And then there'll be people who will be saying, shit, that's the poetic justice of the whole thing. You feel me? It just goes to show that the universe and the spirit realm and the ancestors don't let nothing fly. And in this day and times that we living in of the judgment, ye shall be judged. And they're going to use individuals, stars, planets, galaxies, right? Influencers, archetypes as the sacrificial lambs to teach more people that you can't get away. You can't get away. Live in a certain type of way and try to clean it up. It's too late. See, my nigga, clean up on aisle 6. You saw his charitable ways. He's trying to get right in the 23rd hour. He woke up one day with Carisha and was like, I want to be a better man. You feel me? All right, here go the many faces of the Dark Knight. Artists like J. Rue the Damager was kind of like blackballed and shunned from the industry, but he was talking about this shit back in the 90s. He wasn't scared. All of those backpackers who spoke bad against, they got erased. They got removed. There's so many politicians. You got Kamala that was tweeting Diddy. You got Donald Trump with Diddy. You got your girl J-Lo with Diddy. You know what I'm saying? You got Obama with Diddy. Nobody is saying free Diddy. It's silence. You got, of course, the Carters and whatnot. There's no free Diddy t-shirts. I went on Etsy. I did a Google search. I can't find it. Nobody's standing up for him. I went and searched the Twitter on the tweets, the hashtag. There's no celebrity saying free Diddy. Okay. Of course, there's many implications on what he may have done to Justin Bieber and also Usher. This is also something that is lingering in regards to these tapes and what the feds have as evidence A, B, and C. And while this whole thing will never go to trial. Okay. You got Oprah and Diddy. You got the Kardashians and Diddy. You got Jay and Diddy. Nobody saying free Diddy. There's no campaigns. There's nobody coming to his rescue. There's nobody saying, yo, that's messed up that he's in jail. Nobody is saying a thing, but they're being very quiet because they are praying that their tapes do not get leaked. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Hit the like button, y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button. So my spirit is telling me that there's not going to be too much difference as to what may take place with Diddy and the feds to what took place with Epstein. Epstein was he was a lesson. He was teaching people a lesson. The whole Epstein thing was a lesson for many people to know you will not make it out of these cells alive. You know, if you get jammed up, that means you messed up, and the price of messing up is your life. You don't get to, you know, this is a global cabal of very powerful men, and they don't want that information to get leaked and whatnot. So when you get caught out there, you basically are canceled. Let's pay attention. Okay, let's pay attention. So going all the way back in 2018, Eminem has been on his tail for a while, throwing out lyrics that he killed Tupac. This is not nothing new. They've been saying it, and they've been making innuendos here and there. But you know, this whole thing started to surface around 2018. Jay Electronica tried to jump out the window and defend him. You know, Jay Electronica is a part of his, you know, they came up. He had him under his wing. Puff Daddy had him under his wing. He takes a lot of newcomers under his wing. Jay Electronica was one of those people. Jay Electronica winds up dating a Rothschild and whatnot. So that just goes to show you where Jay Electronica's head is at. He went from Erykah Badu to chilling with P. Diddy to dating Rothschilds. So here's Diddy's Black 100 list, right? So he has a list of the Black 100. Remember, because he was the one standing on that Black excellence thing. He was the ambassador to the culture. He was the one who was talking about he could king you. He was a kingmaker. So he was the one who was calling certain people Black excellence, right? Fast forward to the indictment. So you have the Black 100 list, but now we have we have a Black 100, we have the 100 names revealed, right? So, you know, the way that they're framing this, these quote unquote, all of these people on this quote unquote blacklist are now going to be blacklisted because there's rumors of their tapes or there being tapes or there being evidence of them having orgies and, you know, participating in fornication and their proclivities, regardless if it's consensual sex or not, is salacious. It's not, you know what I mean? It's salaciousness, it's voyeurism, it's violation of certain people's privacy, and that's what America is about. They want all of that. They want to see their stars in a lustful position. They want to see their stars in the bed together. They want to see they you know, look at the Kim Kardashian record. Look at the analytics on that. Look at the analytics on all of the sex tapes. You know, those things go viral because of the voyeurism culture that we're in, and there's nothing that you could do. He's a part of that. Remember, P. Diddy introduces the world to metrosexuals. P. Diddy introduces the world to metrosexuals. P. Diddy kind of ushers in sassy aggressiveness. P. Diddy gives you a lot of weird activity where niggas was real moist and blending into the culture. That's the P. Diddy archetype. You know what I'm talking about? That's the vibe that he represents. And yeah, here's all of the names that he has tagged as Black excellence. This was all the way back in 2018, allegedly around the same time when he was out there raping people. So these are assumed to be the same people on his list at the parties. These are also to be assumed as certain people that he has tapes on and whatnot. It was assumed that he even came up with this Black 100 because those are the people who he basically were in bed with, all right, or has some type of relations with. That was why he was tagging them. Okay. Remember, Janelle Monáe Is that her name? The girl Janelle Monáe. She used to wear zoot suits and run with bad boys. She came out as a pansexual, right? She came out as a pansexual. He got Big Frida up there. Big Frida would be one of the hired sex work. Remember, he was hiring male sex workers, right? But what they're not telling you is that the male sex workers fall under transsexuals as well. So lady boys, right? Men, but they're dressed as women. Okay. And he also, yeah. Right. Yeah. Eddie Murphy's. Yep, I remember that too. They quiet her real quick. They threw some money at her. She was trying to blow him up. But yeah, Janelle Monáe says she's pansexual. Pansexual. So a pansexual is somebody who does everything. She's into everything. She says she could be with a teddy bear, for all we know. Pansexual. So these are some of the things, the proclivities of some of these artists are all in the culture. It's being pushed in the culture. New lawsuit alleges Diddy impregnated his victim, and Young Miami encouraged her to get an abortion to the place where she got a miscarriage. So they're throwing Young Miami in the mix as well, all right, and making her a co-conspirator, and just putting her in the mix as well. Okay, you have Suge in his bag and whatnot. This is Suge's hour. Once again, the irony of everything is that P. Diddy's going to jail and Suge Knight is coming home. Suge Knight has a second opportunity at life again after doing time for murder. He'll be able to rebrand himself. He'll have some money waiting for him. He'll have opportunities waiting for him. He gets the last laugh. You understand? He gets the last laugh. P. Diddy or Sean Combs, unless a miracle happens, unless there's some type of miracle, he necessarily either goes out as a rat, to be in witness protection and to never be seen again, or he does life in jail. That's the only way. He does not get acquitted in Diddy Bop, no pun intended, down the court stairs and whatnot after the feds get to because once again we're talking about people with a 99% conviction rate. Even though there's a weak indictment on him, that is not the last indictment. That is not the only thing that they will be leveling on him. Right? They're going to open up some more cans of worms. Okay. So Suge Knight is saying that this whole shit is connected. You gotta do the he say he's got this behavior, it's inherited. He got it from his handlers, like the Andre Harrells. He learned this is him verbatim. You gotta realize he learned from Andre Harrell. This is what Gene Deal is saying. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clive Davis. When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, that they was into beating women and doing things at that crazy stage, that's going to make him think that he could get away with the same thing. Suge Knight directed his energy at some major powers within the music industry, some of whom have their own public skeletons, such as Russell Simmons, Clive Davis, and Jimmy Iovine. Knight claimed that Diddy was taught this behavior by people before him, which supports claims made by the former Revolt chairman's ex-security guard, Gene Deal. Yeah, so, people are talking, and they're going to continue to talk. And once again, it's salacious. It's a global sticky story. It's the biggest story on a global scale. This is bigger than the elections. This is bigger than politics. This is bigger than anything that you are seeing, the Young Thug trial and all of that. This is the biggest trial globally, not just on an American scale. Because to be honest with you, a lot of us don't give a damn about it, but they are very into this in India, China, Africa, the Caribbean, and other places. This is going to be a way to make a lot of money, They're gonna find ways to milk this. They've already been doing this, they shit. They're already doing it. You turn on the internet, every damn channel on YouTube is talking about this Diddy shit. We're not gonna stay stuck on it. We have other things that we're gonna to be highlighted. But we'll carry this thing up until Monday, and we're gonna unpack this thing. We're definitely going to keep, we're gonna bring information to the family and whatnot in regards to this information, But yeah, we're at the 2 hour mark. Tomorrow, Sacrilegious Sundays will be back. And then on Monday, we have the show. The link will be in the description so you can sign up to the Patreon. This is open to all Patreons, starting from the $5 tier all the way up. This is a Patreon exclusive that we'll be doing on Monday. Okay. It's going to be entitled Red October. All right. Let me throw the flyer up there. Red October. You dig? And it's pretty much going to be, a keynote presentation. We'll be playing video and things of that nature that we can't play on YouTube without getting the strikes. There's a lot of tensions building up in the Middle East. They just knocked off the leader of the Hezbollah. There's a lot of shit going on. Let's just keep it, there's a lot of geopolitical things. We're going to have to talk about, is it real? So, when you talk about, is it real? Can't really talk about, is it real like that on YouTube without being censored, or Instagram and places like that. So we're going to have to do that on Zoom. The link will be there for anybody that wants to register and be a part of that. We will see you on Monday, but tomorrow we'll be back with Sacrilegious Sundays. Love and light to the family. Thank you for your time and your patience and your energy tonight. Peace, love, and light. Let's end this with the 44 Tops. 1.
Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple light, friends. Facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I open my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.